Hello, my name is Amy Hampton and welcome to my screencast for my second learning module. For this learning module, I decided to create a makerspace. The makerspace I decided to create was actually a mobile space on a cart, and here is a picture that I found of a cart that I would really like to invest in to have if I were able to create this or fund this for my classroom. This cart is available from a company called Copernicus, and I actually found it on a school specialty website, so it is something that is readily available. What I have done is added little notes here for easy reference to some of the important features of the cart. So at the top we have a whiteboard available for messages or announcements to your class, be easily seen from all areas of the room. Again, there's a magnetic strip you can use to post important papers, handouts for the kids to pick up, or supplies or anything like that. You have a locked box here, again from the company of Copernicus, and you can use that box for electronics or video cameras, anything that you don't want students to be able to access easily. There's casters that have ability to lock to make it very mobile. And all the bins seen here actually come with the cart. So it isn't something that you just purchase the cart that's just the frame and then have to purchase everything uh, individually. From the description that I read, I believe most of the bins that you see here do come with the initial purchase. Again, I have the back here, so you have hooks here that you can hold chart paper for all sorts of things that you could do. This right here is storage areas for rolls of paper, or you could put big sheets of cardboard in there. There's storage and dispenser for like ribbon or tape or anything like that on rolls, and then you also have the pegboard for supplies. I really liked how it was very open, easily accessible for teachers and for students. You can easily see if you're running low on certain supplies, if students need to go to the cart to pick up out the supplies. It's very user friendly. So now we get into kind of the nitty gritty. So it says describe your population. Um, so I teach 7th grade social studies. My students are very inquisitive and they want to learn about so many different things. They really want to learn about the world around them and their place in the world. And at the beginning of the year, we were talking about civics and we were talking about minority rights, and they have been fascinated with, like I said here, the experience of others and how they fit in, and we get a lot of what ifs. And this really fits into 21st century learning. When my students become actively engaged, they are able to make those connections at such a deeper level that they will then be able to transfer that knowledge to new situations and to build their understanding even more. We do a lot of collaboration. When they're able to work together, they can really learn from each other, much more than what they can learn from myself and my co-teacher. Collaboration is very key to our classroom. I would love to create this makerspace again to really actively engage my students. Geoghegan says that there's 4 C's that should drive a lesson: creativity, critical thinking, communication, collaboration. The ultimate goal for our social studies departments is to have our students thinking critically, to work on their communication, both verbal and written, to work with each other, and then to build some of that creativity in there. When they're able to do these things, they're going to use a wide range of techniques to brainstorm how to solve problems, to think outside the box, to look critically, to build a critically thinking student who's going to grow into a critically thinking citizen of not just the United States, but of the world. I really see this makerspace being used in all branches of social studies that we teach, civics and economics, geography, with history woven in, to really build those rich, engaging activities. So just some of the activities that they could do: they could create student created videos with stop motion, with like Legos, with construction paper as backdrops, using the video camera, and then also using the video camera to create green screen videos. They can get involved as far as building their own props and their own costumes, and writing the script and acting it out and editing that. When we get into our geography unit, they could build a physical model of a colony, really getting in there. They can use all sorts of different things with that. They could use the Legos again for that, for like a 3D model, popsicle sticks, yarn, cardboard, really anything that fits their fancy. This right here is just a possible list of supplies. When we do our international trade unit, when we first talk about why countries trade, we do a really cool activity that the makerspace would really fit well into, where they're placed in different countries that have like some are small, some are large, and then they're also given different sets of resources, and they have to build certain materials within certain parameters. They have to make food, but the food has to be shaped in the same color as if it was in real life. So like an apple should be red or green and like in the shape of an apple, or so forth. And in order to do so, they need certain supplies. So then they would have to trade in order to get those supplies. So these are just like I said, a sampling of this different activities or projects that could be made. Certainly there's many more out there. I really don't see the makerspace that I'm envisioning as using any sort of special tools. Tools obviously can be added in the future, and if they need to be, since the makerspace is mobile, then we can relocate this space to an area that would fit any, if we needed ventilation or any special electrical outlets or so forth. I really envision that the social studies teachers of my department would staff the cart. So if I actually did this, I would probably be in charge, and then the social studies teachers, either in 7th grade or 8th grade, could come to me, kind of sign it out. I could be in charge and check it over, make sure the supplies are there, restock if necessary, order the necessary things, just make sure everything is in working order. So because it's mobile, it can go to different classrooms. And it does contain some general supplies for many different types of projects. So if the ELA teacher down the hall needed something, obviously if we weren't using it, they're more than welcome to use it, or the math teacher, or the science teacher, or anything like that. Our building is very, very collaborative in that way. We are here for the students. It's not a me type thing, like I'm going to close my door and do whatever I want behind that door. So I see it as being very flexible, very fluid. A makerspace can be funded in many different ways. There's many different avenues out there. There's company scholarships like ING and Lowe's. Grants can be written in order to pay for Makerspace. Actually, at our district level, we actually have uh, district people, staff members who have written grants in the past, so I can always go to them, ask them for help. Our social studies curriculum person could actually, take that over if I needed her to. DonorsChoose.org is also another excellent way. And we can always ask for donations. Local businesses, school staff, like put an email out. Hey, if anybody has anything like old newspapers or toilet paper rolls or whatever we would need for a certain whatever projects out there. Our staff has been really great in the past for anything that any other teachers will need. So I just made a list kind of outlining some general costs for a very general makerspace. Again, I found the Copernicus, it's a STEM maker station it's called. It's pretty affordable, I would think, at about $488. Now that's without shipping and handling, but still, I have cloth and felt and fabric shears and safety pins, fabric glue, yarn, ribbon, a storage bin, digital camera, video camera, colored paper, cardstock, and then we get into really like some arts and crafts stuff with glue gun and glue sticks and paper clips and so forth, markers and colored pencils. Obviously, these are just general prices. If I was doing this, I would really look at the quality and the quantity and shipping and handling and all that stuff. Goes down to Legos, like construction paper, green screen, which I found you can do really cheap with, like, this is green like poster board paper you could just tape on your wall, which is really cool, I think. There's many different ways that you can showcase projects. The library in our school really holds a lot of the art projects that the art teachers do. And then we do have STEM classes that some of their projects will be displayed in there as well. So if this ever comes to fruition, it would be really cool to have our social studies projects in there as well. There's display cases in the hallways. We also have a video system for morning announcements where we could pre-record message and place it in like a PowerPoint where student videos can be broadcast. We could show any like video pictures, still pictures of projects or anything like that. Social media platforms could also be used, such as Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, to kind of showcase some of those finished projects as well. Just so some of the TPAC requirements, so technology knowledge. The makerspace is extremely flexible. It is going to reflect the classroom in which it's going to be used because the supplies can be kind of interchanged out to fit the needs of whoever is in there. I really wanted it to be low tech. That way students and staff would not be kind of intimidated by anything that would be like a 3D printer or something like that might be overwhelming to some staff members to even try to tackle. So having some low tech options, the supplies are easy to use, would make it so much more accessible, easier for teachers to implement, and then the students would get a lot of benefit from that. Social studies isn't just learning about boring history, it's learning about the world. In my classroom, we follow the Delaware recommended curriculum, and within this curriculum, we have units where the students need to apply the knowledge that they learned to new situations at the end of each unit. So this cart would allow my students to do these transfer tasks in such an engaging and creative way. So an example would be like the model that I described before about a new colony or new ideal settlement. Although they would be given certain parameters to work within, this makerspace would give them creative license. It would allow them to have so many more options available to them because it's already been uh, supplied. So the technological pedagogical knowledge is really keeping with those 21st century skills. The makerspace forces students to collaborate with others and to think outside that box. A lot of times in my classroom, when students are given very, not vague directions, but it's not cookie cutter, it's not straightforward. The answers are in that gray area, it's not really black or white. They struggle a little bit, and the more that they do that, the easier it'll become, and the more comfortable they'll be with not having just one right answer. Oftentimes, there's more than one way to complete a project. They can create deeper understandings about the content through the creating of videos and models and skits and debates and all sorts of other things. It also allows for differentiation. I can't say that. I 5 out of my 6 classes are inclusion, so I deal with students at all different levels. And when you are working with projects that the makerspace cart would allow me to implement, I can meet my students at their levels and they can show their understanding in many different ways. And that would really be a huge benefit to my students. Some students aren't great writers, so let's draw something or let's build something with your hands. You might not be good at drawing or building, and maybe you are a good writer. The opportunities are boundless with this. And they'll be able to be given the appropriate level of support, and they'll also be able to feel success, which will lead them into the next lesson, into the next unit, and would really, really help. And then I have some references here about some of the information that I received.